we're gonna look at this whole thing because obviously, like, this is about Mgtow. You got all these Mgtow saying, screw women, women ain't this, women ain't that, and really and truly, it's got nothing to do with the women. It's got everything to do with white fragility, white fragility, white fragility, which is basically, they've been told their whole lives that they are at the top of the hierarchical food chain. They're the top of the hierarchy, They're the top. Women want them. Do you think half these black women would be with white men if they weren't deemed and portrayed as successful? No, they wouldn't. You understand? Most people wouldn't. Like, they're not genetically the strongest. That much is obvious, which is why, a lot of it is about technology and resources. And they'll try to spin it on you by saying, oh, well, you guys use a lot of weapons when, it's clear from the evidence that without the advanced weaponry, they never would have taken over any black nations. Because, if you look over historical record, they used to get their asses kicked repeatedly. And, we've come to the day in an age where everybody's kind of fighting for their individual rights. So it's kind of like a divide and conquer tactics. And I don't necessarily have a problem with white people, but their egos unchecked, white fragility will fucking destroy everybody. I don't understand why black people are getting even involved in Mgtow. Like, you have the best women on earth. Like, these women were warriors. You had Harriet Tubman, you had Yar Santois, you had a whole bunch of women who went hard. They don't have women like that. Their women are mostly trash. I said mostly, not all. They're mostly trash. They fuck anybody. They fuck the most amount of foreigners. They do the most amount of foul shit, kiss dogs. So if they're upset with their women, yeah, don't make them feel like that has to be put on you. But I understand a lot of black people in Mgtow are kind of, um, white people passing kind of black people. Cause I see some black dude with a sex doll, some geek nerd looking black dude with a sex doll, like that is hella weak. You got a sex doll, like, bro. There's women out there with real live vaginas, bro, and you got a sex doll. Don't let these people, like, listen to this. Listen to this guy.
I just stated, and what I stated is a fact. And if Mr. Blow doesn't know that, he should retire immediately. But his agenda is to convince his readers that white people actively suppress black.
No, white people don't actively suppress black people, but white governments actively suppress black people. See, this is the thing that they never really tell you. There's a difference between white people, rednecks, so on and so forth, even Ku Klux Klan members, and the government. The government has actively been suppressing black people since they came to this country. The government used to kill Indians. Now, these white people don't feel no way about it. That's why they say, our ancestors conquered this land, so we have a right to it. Like, they're never gonna see things from a philosophical point of view. They're never gonna see things from a point of view of universal law. In terms of it was wrong for us to go in another people's territory, kill them, take their lands, pass it on to our kids, and then have our kids say basically, it's everyone's now. It's not everyone's. You know what I mean? It's not your land. It's not your land. Yeah, you lot belong in Europe. And I'm not even trying to take the piss. You can't go to somebody's land, kill them, and then act as if it's your land. It doesn't work that way. It's like me coming to your house. If I went to a white dude's house and I killed him, and I made my children move in there, and he had children, and I kicked them out, and they came back 2 generations later, all the white people would be like, no, it doesn't belong to you. But you realize when the shoe is on the other foot, when it's them that are in a position of being, wrong, they turn around and say, we're all people. We're all in this. You're not all in this together, not to a large degree. Some white people are cool, but the most of them are racist, and they talk a most amount of crap. They don't even see their own racism. This is why they can say the stuff that they do.
People and other minorities. That is the general theme of the far left. Today, in another New York Times column, race baiter, Michael Eric Dyson wrote, quote, Americans are bad at viewing race in real time. We prefer rose-tinted lenses and slow-motion replays in which we can control the narrative and minimize our complicity in the horrors of our history.
See what I mean?
Our complicity? Apparently, Dyson
receiving a
believes
benefit
the slave
right now.
trade continues to define America. Therefore, all white people are complicit. Complete bull.
That
I
to a
have no
degree, that's
complicity.
true.
None.
But you
I'm
receive
a
a
big fan
benefit.
of John Quincy Adams, the abolitionist. And throughout my life, I've donated big money to help suffering minorities in this country and all over the world. Mr. Dyson doesn't care about that.
That's got nothing to do with
The
that.
fact that I am white and in a powerful position makes me the enemy.
See, he's a good white, just like a black person is a bad black. You know what I mean? Like, to black people, all them black people gangbang or whatever, they're not the majority of black people. Like, to us, this type of white person is not the majority of white people. So,
Well, aside from the straw men that
I'm not even gonna
that Orion
get into the argument. You know, it just seems to be all bullshit. Just a bunch of egos, man. These people are fragile and shit. Well, cause you know, you're not the best no more. No one considers you the best no more.
Talking about Hillary Clinton.
This country's in trouble, economically and overseas. While the left will never admit that, it's true. And whoever the next president is
I admit it. Go ahead.
going to inherit one big mess. The jihadists are threatening millions of people. Iran's close to having a nuclear weapon. Working Americans are still struggling to make money in the marketplace, and our traditional American values are under siege nearly everywhere. If you're a Christian or a white man in the USA, it's open season on you.
Oh, geez.
Therefore, Hillary Clinton has an advantage. She can run a general campaign, first woman in the White House, and I'm going to help you by increasing the entitlement society. It will take a very articulate and tough-minded Republican to defeat her. One final thing. We at the Factor, as I said, we're going to be fair to Hillary Clinton. But we're going to be tough, as we are on all political candidates. I don't think gender matters one bit. And if this war on women business is resurrected, we'll have something to say about it.
They destroy the
Also,
country
Mrs.
and they
Clinton
still
would
think
be
they have rights to it.
well advised.
Destroy the country and the
to
world and the
distance herself
ecosystems, and you still
from
think
Media
you're the most
Matters and
advanced
the other
people. These
gutter
people are
snipe
fucking
organizations
psychopaths,
who
man.
use despicable,
Seriously,
dishonest
delusional
tactics to
psychopaths.
attack those with whom they disagree.
All right. All right, Bill, first of all, I would appreciate the next time you're talking about gutters.
I don't even have a problem with this dude, but it's like the whole Mgtow thing. What did one of them say? One of the big leaders in the Mgtow, he said this problem only occurred in the last 40 years since the UN started the war or the invasion of North Africa. 40 years. And, you know, from the inception of feminism. He's saying all these problems go back 40 years. I don't know about you, but my grandma's like 90. She can tell me, you know, stories about how during the war, they would get dragged out of their vehicles and sent to army camps, and they'd be forced to fight in their wars. Same thing happened with World War One. Black people were forced to fight in their wars. Black people, there were more black soldiers in the war than white people. Same thing with World War Two. More black soldiers than white people. They went to both them wars, and when they came back home, they were still treated like shit. Same thing happened with Vietnam. Same thing happened with the Civil War. The point I'm trying to make is like they'll drag you into their movements and say, you know, we're brothers. But as soon as, you know, the problem's over, you're back to being a nigger. It's the same thing with Mgtow. They don't give a fuck about you. Watch what they say. It's thinly veiled racial slurs, thinly veiled racial insults. You know, a thinly veiled air of superiority. You know, I don't think I'm superior to a white man. But do you know the difference? If my people went to another people's land and took it over and killed them and raped them and did all sorts of messed up stuff to them, I'd think, you know, I'd want to start a movement where it's like I'd want to give the land back to the people and say, you know what, this isn't our land. We shouldn't have more rights to this land than these people. How white people got more rights to America than black people? How white people got more rights to Africa than black people? How the fuck are they in New Zealand and Australia? These people are psychopaths, bro. Like, if you listen to them, like, you're just going to be lost and confused, because that's all they are, confusion.